Welcome back, everyone. Today, we are tackling a critical and often misunderstood presentation in perinatal psychiatry, which is postpartum obsessive compulsive disorder or PPOCD. When a new mother confesses to having thoughts of harming her baby, the clinical stakes are incredibly high, and as clinicians, we must perfectly navigate the differential diagnosis to avoid catastrophic mismanagement. Let us start by understanding the core of PPOCD. This condition severely interferes with mother infant bonding, not out of malice, but because the mother is absolutely terrified of her own mind. While we call it postpartum, modern clinical literature emphasizes a peripartum onset. We frequently see symptoms begin or escalate during the third trimester of pregnancy. However, the most vulnerable window for an abrupt onset or severe worsening is the first 4 to 6 weeks after delivery, triggered by massive hormonal fluctuations and acute sleep deprivation. The clinical presentation hinges on three classic features. First are the intrusive obsessions. These are horrifying, unwanted thoughts or images of accidentally or intentionally harming the newborn, like dropping them or using sharp objects. The defining characteristic here is that these thoughts are completely ego dystonic. They're repugnant to the mother, and they go entirely against her true desires. To neutralize the immense anxiety these thoughts cause, the mother develops compulsions, such as repeatedly waking up to check if the baby is breathing or engaging in excessive sterilizing routines. This culminates in severe avoidance behaviors. You will see mothers refusing to pick their own child, hiding all the knives in the house, or refusing to be left alone with the infant simply out of fear that their intrusive thoughts might somehow come true. Now, the most crucial part of our clinical assessment is the differential diagnosis. We must distinctly separate PPOCD from postpartum depression and, most importantly, postpartum psychosis. In PPOCD, the nature of the thoughts is ego dystonic and reality testing is fully intact. The mother knows the thoughts are irrational, which is why the risk of actual infanticide is extremely low. She avoids the baby to protect the baby from herself. In contrast, postpartum depression centers on feelings of overwhelming inadequacy and worthlessness, though reality testing generally remains intact. Postpartum psychosis, however, is a totally different and dangerous entity. Here, the thoughts are egocentric. The mother might have delusions that the baby is possessed, and she genuinely believes these thoughts to be true because reality testing is entirely lost. There are hallucinations, delusions, and disorganized thinking. Because of this, postpartum psychosis carries an extremely high risk of infanticide and is an absolute psychiatric emergency requiring immediate hospitalization. Understanding these nuances saves lives and protects families. I would love to hear your thoughts on managing these complex cases in your own practice, so please leave a comment below with your experiences. If you found this clinical breakdown helpful, make sure to subscribe for more deep dives into psychiatry.